Welcome to another episode of Leading Your Adventures, your venturing podcast. I'm so excited to have each and every one of you here. We're going to dive deep into what it takes to create a meaningful and impactful experience in venturing at the unit level. Today, we are going to explore the importance of building a strong venturing crew community, which will foster leadership, and how those relationships go beyond just advancement, enriching both individuals in life and the entire crew. Our special guest is Caleb Mulholland. Caleb, would you like to kind of start by introducing yourself?
Sure, Hannah. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to be here and be able to talk about fostering the crew community. I've been in scouting for about 9 years now. Feels like a lot longer. I can't believe how long it's already been 9 years and everything. I joined the Arrow in 2019. I've held a few positions in the OA. It's definitely changed my life, got me to where I am in scouting and in life today, made a huge impact on me. I joined venturing in 2023 when a new crew formed in my hometown, and a lot of my friends joined, and I was like, why not? It sounds like a fun thing to do. I currently serve as the Council Vice President of Communications for Piedmont Council 420 in Gas, Carolina. A lot of fun. I love doing that. I'm in two crews, Crew 314 and Crew 263. In scouting, I've done a lot on the national level, attending events, World Scout Jamboree, National Jamboree, 2 NOACs. Been so much fun. I love it. And I'm excited to get more involved in venturing and talk tonight about fostering crew communities.
I love it. I love your crew experience. You came in having a good amount of scouting experience. And then you're able to take this leadership position under your wing. I was wondering, and I know we talked about this a little bit, but what does building a strong venturing community look like for you personally?
Yeah, great question. I think that to build a strong crew community, you need to have a place where people feel welcome, right? Where they walk in and they feel like they're a part of the team, the crew, the gang already, right? A group of people that already welcomes them the second they walk in the door. And that really comes from strong leadership, having good, strong advisors who are mentoring the youth, but also good crew leadership, a good crew president, vice presidents, and all the other officers that are, focused and driven on making sure that the community itself is very welcoming on initial entry for new people. And I think another big thing is focusing on more relationships rather than advancements, right? The point of venturing isn't to earn summit. The point of scouting isn't to earn eagle. It's to instill in people, the values of the Scout Oath and Law. And so I think that focusing on those values and on building relationships with other people and just trying to get to summit or eagle really makes a big difference in helping foster a strong crew community.
Definitely. I think one of my professors today said it takes 30 seconds to a minute to make a first impression, and that you're never going to get back. And I remember walking into a crew meeting and definitely feel welcome. I was like, wow, this is a group of people I don't even know yet, but I feel connected. And definitions are very helpful. How would you define a sense of community within your crew?
I think, that's a good question. I think one really good way to know that you have a strong crew community is non-scouting communication, right? So a lot of my friends from the crew, one of the crews I'm in, I talk to them every day, and it's not even scouting related. Right before we joined this call to have this conversation, I was on a call with my crew president, just talking and have fun and chatting with him, because we're such good friends outside of scouting that we don't even need the crew to have that strong community. But the crew is what gave that to me in the first place. A lot of my closest scouting friends came from my crew, and now I talk to them outside of scouting and outside of the crew in general. And I think that that's really cool. I'm really happy about that.
Awesome. Can you kind of walk us through how that happened for you and how you make it happen for the people joining your crew as you're starting to become working towards that that 21 age where you start becoming an advisor, or you're not quite there yet, but you're closer than when you started. So how talk me through how that happened for you, and how do you foster that and make sure it's happening for your 14, 15, 16-year-olds who are just joining the venturing program?
Yeah, well, that magic number 21 is scarily looming closer. It seems every day I'm reminded that I'm getting older. But I think that how I helped, how my crew helped develop that sense of was focusing a lot on service projects and eventually going on a big crew trip together. When we first joined the crew, one of our kind of main focus points was that we wanted to do something big together. So we did a lot of fundraising and a lot of service projects, which helps bond us, get us closer. And then eventually we decided on going on a trip out west. I'm from North Carolina, so we went through Oklahoma and Kansas, all the way out to New Mexico, the Grand Canyon, Black Mesa, a lot of really, really cool natural landmarks and attractions, and we road tripped the whole thing. So I was in a car with my 6-8 other crew members. I think we ended up doing a total of 40 something hours of driving over the course of a few weeks, and that was a long time to be stuck in a van with them. And that really helped bring us closer together and helped instill that kind of me wanting to talk to them outside of the crew. Most of them I'd known before the crew trip. That's what we call it, the crew trip. It was kind of the pinnacle of our crew. But after that trip, I became a lot closer to all of them and started talking to them outside of the crew, outside of scouting. And I think that that's because we were forced to do something which we all loved, going out west, seeing the Grand Canyon, all of that. Being so close together for a week and a half really helped us to grow closer together to the point where we were more than just fellow crew members, best friends. And so I think kind of how we were able to develop such a strong crew community. And now when we welcome more people in, those 14, 15-year-old scouts, we really focus on highlighting that kind of opportunity to them, right? This next year, we're planning on going up north this time. So we're going to go to Canada, Acadia National Park, the Niagara Falls. So we're really excited about that. It's going to be so much fun. And that's one of the highlights of buying new members in is, hey, this is something that we're really excited about. Our last one was some, and we're really hoping that you join us for this one because we all really grew close together. And they can see that when they walk into the room, they notice that we're all having a good time, laughing and joking and talking about things, and it gets them excited to join us.
I love it. And even the small things, fundraising is not easy. Do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, so we're very blessed to have a lot of opportunities around us for fundraising and a lot of motivated advisors to help organize and motivated youth to help, actually go out and encourage members to participate in those. We were able to fundraise enough money to get that entire week and a half trip out west to be about $200 per person for the 14 of us, I think the total that went, 11 of us that went for a week and a half. And that covered all of our gas, all of our food, tickets to get into the Grand Canyon, everything. And because we had strong who really wanted to help us get price down, because we had scouts and venturers that weren't going to be able to go unless we got that price down. And so seeing our friends, hey, they aren't able to afford this big trip, a motivate to go out and do as much fundraising as we could so that way our friends could join us, if that makes sense.
It does. And I love that. Working together, you guys have a vision, and now it's going up north, and having that camaraderie together, having adults that will support when you're like, hey, Mr. Advisor, I would love some help doing X, Y, and Z. And they're like, okay, let's make that happen, is really wonderful to see. And not an experience you're going to get in most of the other scouting programs, just because they're structured a little bit differently. Going on to my next question, how does it benefit individual members to have that kind of camaraderie together?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it benefits, the entire crew in general to have that camaraderie because it invites new members in and it just creates a sense of community within it. But individually, I think it creates a lot of personal growth for individuals. I think having close friendships, people that you can trust and talk to and hang out with, I think that really makes an impact on, your own mental health, your physical health. I mean, I think that it really helps make an impact on your personal growth. And if everybody is succeeding and growing because of the relationships they're developing with people, then your entire crew is growing. And the better community you have, the more members you're going to get, and then the more members you're going to be that are going to be impacted by your crew, by the program, by scouting, venturing, the oath and law that we strive to live by. And so that personal growth that really just you think only impacts you actually goes outward and really impacts your crew and your council and your territory and nationally. Everybody who's involved in the program working together to grow together.
Wow, I couldn't have said it better. I think part of the ELS model, that's what it's called, is that personal growth. And how you were describing it, you've experienced kind of a wave effect that's like you're feeling it and I'm feeling it, and I think the viewers are feeling it, how excited you are to share, and that makes people excited to come to meetings, and then they go tell their friends. And they go, what did you do last weekend or last week? And you're able to share that Grand Canyon adventure. Are there any other activities or events that have helped your crew bond besides that big one?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that, so we're starting fundraising again for our next trip next summer. And this past weekend, we just went down to the Carolina Balloon Festival, which is hot air balloons going up and attractions and basically a big fair in North Carolina. And we helped manage parking for that, loading, unloading buses, helping people get where they needed to be. And it was a lot of work. I mean, we were up at 6 o'clock in the morning working until 8 or 9 o'clock and the hot sun. And it was a difficult experience, and it was hard work, but worthwhile. And I think that kind of hard work really helped us bond together because, we're here together, we're all tired, and we're working to help these people get where they need to go and be dutiful scouts and mindful of the oath and law. And I think that helped all of us bond a lot.
Love it. I love it. Now, you can't be together every moment of every day. And I'm sure there's people, as people come in and out, have you found any strategies for keeping everyone in the loop and engaged through the many fundraising activities, the service activities? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's definitely something that we struggle with sometimes, is making sure everybody gets information about what's going on when are we meeting, what we're doing. We utilize the Band app to communicate. It's similar to, the many other platforms, GroupMe or Slack or email threads. And it helps us kind of manage being able to post about when's what and what's going on where. So that's how we've been communicating with other people. But a lot of it also relies on just that strong sense of community of, I want to know if my friend is going to be attending the meeting. So I'll text him, I'll call him up, ask if he's going to be there. And maybe he didn't even know we had a meeting, but now he does and he's going to be there. So that's definitely something that could be improved on in our crew, is kind of communication in that area. But overall, we do a pretty good job of letting people know what's where, if that makes sense.
It does. A follow-up question, because we're all in Gen Z at this point and love apps and things on our phones. Do English, Hannah, English, do your adults use band as well, or do you send out a separate email? How do you communicate that information to them?
Yeah, so our adults do use band. Interestingly enough, I think most of our advisors are also Gen Z or on the late end of millennials. So they're all like 23, 24. Some of them are a little bit older, they're in a different generation, but they are all very active and they're on the same as us. They are all very technologically literate, which we're very thankful for.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Sometimes the enthusiasm or the strong crew community will go down when an advisor is like, I don't know what's going on. So I was very, very curious to hear about that. Somebody coming in, if I'm a venturer that maybe just joined venturing or is looking to join venturing, what advice would you give me or the viewer that's sitting on the other side of the screen listening to this conversation now?
I would say that if somebody's coming into venturing, I definitely think the first thing that when I struggled with when I first joined venturing was I didn't really feel like I belonged in the crew. That took a while for that community to develop. And so I think that the biggest piece of advice I would give is, stick with it. Don't just be turned off by one meeting, that maybe nobody talked to you. That definitely has happened to me before, and it's no fun. But sticking with it, coming back for a second, third time, talking to people, trying to introduce yourself and get to know people, attend events. I think that's the biggest way to become involved and active and find that sense of community, because community doesn't just happen. You have to work for it. And even if you're just now coming into a community, you're still going to have to, work for that. You're still going to have to work for that because that's just how it works. It takes a lot of work from everybody involved. And so I think that just getting involved with your first meeting, kind of sticking it out, is something big for people.
Definitely. I wish I would have heard you talking about 5 or 6 years ago when I was first joining and kind of hated coming in, because here's a group of people that know one another and they're very excited and they're going on these big trips that I haven't even imagined doing, kind of thing. But definitely sticking with it. And then your leaders and crew, I would suggest talk to those people, get them involved, remember what it was first like to come into a new situation. And talking about different situations as we shift gears a little bit with this conversation, how can a crew handle, or how does your crew handle conflicts or disagreements? Because there's always those. Nothing's perfect. It's not rainbows and unicorns all the time. And I definitely do think it strengthens the community, but what's your experience participating in, well, not participating in, but handling those bumps in the roads, those challenges?
Sure. Yeah, that's definitely important. I think that, we definitely faced a lot of that on our, trip during the summer, week and a half in a van with 11 other people. You're going to get a little grumpy with a few of them every now and then. And I think whenever that happened, we really focused on calming the situation down, separating people, whatever the disagreement is, and focusing on talking to them individually, because once you calm down from a situation, it's a lot easier to go back in and approach it with a sense of humility and respect and a willingness to resolve it, right? If you're coming out at it hot-headed and fired up, it's not going to be very easy for you to resolve that situation. So separating people, and whether it just be us pulling over at a gas station, everybody getting out and getting a snack, or going to use the bathroom and taking a look at the beautiful Oklahoma scenery because you're in the middle of nowhere, kind of calming everybody down, separating them for a little bit. I think that really helped us in our conflict resolution.
I love it. I know my NYLT course talked about express, address, and resolve, and you kind of went through that perfectly, and that's the strategy that your crew uses. Do you have any bylaws for situations for your particular crew?
No, I don't think we do, actually. None that I'm aware of.
Okay. You'll have to go back and report back and see if you do, but Do youth officers usually handle conflicts?
It's a mixture between the youth officers and the older members of the crew. Usually the crew president, our vice presidents will help get involved. And then just by the nature of older youth serving the mentorship roles in scouting, that would often play the case in our conflict resolution. If they would usually one person would go with each party and help talk to them, calm them down, just work it out, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Does your crew, in your experience, have you found out that you come back stronger after kind of calming down and talking it out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the fact that we're able to get mad at each other and express that and have frustrations with each other, because no matter what relationship you're in with somebody, you're going to have disagreements with them. And I think the ability to express that and come back to it and learn from it and grow from it and heal that really helps to make a relationship stronger. And I think it's another huge way to foster crew community, because if everybody's been mad at each other and they've helped heal it, it builds a sense of trust, and that helps that community grow stronger and stay strong, right? So I think that it's definitely really helpful.
I love it. I love it. Kind of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly.
Kind of vibes there. Yeah, I love it. And I think it's important for youth leaders to note, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're not having conflict, like at all in your crew might not be as strong as you think it is, because you're not bonding together with one another and fostering that sense of trust.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. My next question would be, how can a crew balance fun with learning and leadership development to create that positive environment? Because you're doing a lot of things. Where does that balance come in your experience?
I think that focusing on, when you're planning your venturing program, I think that focusing on fun things like a crew trip or service projects or whatever your crew wants to do, I think focusing on having a good fun time, hanging out with people, I think that should be one of the focuses and drives of planning your venturing program. And then building that, you utilize those leadership skills, those planning skills, you develop all of those skills we're trying to teach in venturing. For example, I keep coming back to our crew trip because it was awesome and kind of utilized everything to encapsulate one cool event. And the whole trip was geared around having fun together, going out west, but a lot of planning went into that beforehand, a lot of leadership of divvying up assignments. We had somebody who loves cooking in our crew, so he was in charge of planning food and making sure where we were going to stop for food and all that. We had somebody who loves learning about culture and all of that, so he planned our trips and attractions we're going to visit. I happen to know a lot of scouts, so I would plan utilize network to figure out what camps we're going to stay at if I knew people at those camps. And we all kind of pooled our skills to create an awesome trip. And all of that planning and leadership went into the fun program that we wanted to have. And then we also built learning, like you said, into it. We stopped at a few museums. In particular, one that we really enjoyed was the Cowboy Museum and Native American Museum. It was really cool to be able to learn about cowboys and all that cool stuff, the Wild Wild West, and then also Native Americans, not only the Plains and Western Native American, all across the United States. Most of our crew are Order of the Arrow members. Most of them are very active and very passionate about American Indian affairs. And so it was really cool to be able to learn about all this American Indian affairs and Native American history and talk to experts about it, people who study this. And there was, in particular, one thing that we found really interesting was a set of Catawba Indian regalia that they had on display, which is the same regalia my lodge uses for our ceremonies. And so it was really cool to be able to see authentic 1800s Catawba regalia, what it looked like, how it's been preserved throughout the centuries. And so all of that learning was built into the fun program that we planned and led. And so it all kind of came together into one big trip. So I think that's kind of plan your program around and still getting those across.
I love it. I love it. And I also think that if you were to do the exact same thing in 4 years with the same exact crew, I definitely think as you delegate stuff, you would find that it's going to be a different trip because there's different interests and different niches to go around. And it's very exciting to hear about your crew and your niches and how you guys went about that. And in fostering a community, you kind of built it without even realizing you were building it. And now you guys are inseparable. As we're kind of closing, is there anything else that you wanted to tell our viewers?
I think that if you're not in the venturing program yet, I'm a little confused as to why you're watching this podcast, but I'm happy that you are. I definitely think that you should be involved. It's a great opportunity, and it's helped my life, helped meet people that will be my best friends and for life. I'm really excited about that. And then if you're in venturing, I encourage you to be very conscientious and mindful of knowing what your crew community is like, right? How close are you with the other members of your crew? And if you are in a crew where everybody's super close, and that's awesome, I really encourage you to continue that and make efforts to maintain that sense of community. But if you are in a crew where maybe you could be more engaged with other members of your crew, you could be closer, then I really encourage you to make a strong effort to work towards building a stronger community and getting to know those people better. So that way your events and your programs and your personal growth that we talked about earlier will skyrocket, right? It's going to be so much better when you're in a crew with people that you care about and the people that care about you. I mean, my crew, these are going to be the groomsmen at my wedding. These people, I've made such good friendships from it, and I really, really want to see everybody benefit like I have from venturing program.
I love it. You could just mic drop and end the episode right there. But before we do that, I wanted to thank you, Caleb, for coming and sharing your insight. Thank you for all you've done for the scouting community, and your story, I have no doubt, is going to have a major impact on the community of venturing as we know it. If you would like to join a venturing crew like Caleb was talking about, don't forget to go to beascout.org, put in your zip code, and you will be able to find the venturing crews around you. If there's not one around you, go to the venturing website. There's a how to start a crew, a document that you can use to kind of help you get started so that you can inevitably build and foster this crew community like Caleb's been talking about. We have created a lot of meaningful conversation. I've learned a lot about the impact and experiences Caleb has had. Thank you again. We hope Caleb's experiences inspire you at home to focus on building those relationships and fostering leadership in your own crew. Remember that venturing is more than just about the activities. It's about those connections, making those lifelong friends. A friend of mine, and I think I've said it before on this show, that our best friends today are the future leaders of tomorrow. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Leading Our Adventures. Until next time, you keep leading your adventure. Bye.